With plans for a huge WWE return and more, this is Wrestling Hub. My name is John, and you're watching The Wrestling Report. Before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Talking about her previous injury and main roster call-up, Maxxine Dupri told Out of Character, "I signed in October 2021, and then I went up in July 2022. I was only on TV for a month or two. I fractured my fibula. That happened in May or June. In hindsight, I think that was a really big blessing because I wasn't doing much in NXT because I was injured. When they were looking at who was going to be Maxxine, that ended up being a positive and allowed me to heal. I was in NXT working with Von Wagner and Robert Stone, which was amazing and so much fun. I obviously wasn't doing very much because Stone was managing Von and I was with him, and I would get a few lines, but it was still, she's new, let's dip our toes in it. They started advertising this new character Maxxine was going to join Maximum Male Models. They promoted it for like 3 weeks, and I didn't know that whole time. I had no idea." Recalling his injury to his bicep and being told he'd be out of action due to it, Matt Jackson of the Young Bucks wrote on Instagram, "I got hurt about 10 weeks ago, literally on day one of the beginning of a very important story that we started. I was told there was a good chance I wouldn't be cleared to perform again for 6 to 7 months after surgery. Surgeons insisted I get the muscle repaired immediately. I opted not to do the surgery, but rather try other therapeutic options that get me back quicker. I had faith that through proper rehabilitation, supplementation, and prayer, I'd be back wrestling with a target goal of double or nothing. There was clearly a lot of doubt, but I wasn't going to miss it no matter what. In fact, I wasn't going to miss any of the events leading to it either. During the process, I lived in fear that I was making a huge mistake, that my arm would never be the same again, or that I'd lose a bunch of strength. I had anxiety and many sleepless nights, that I'd let everyone, including myself, down. Thankfully, my wife, Dana, my family, close friends, and various medical staff members supported and showed their love these past couple of months, and I hit my target. Wrestling with my elite family by my side in Las Vegas meant so much to me because the journey there was pretty tough. Thank you to everyone who's put up with me, my endless chatter about my rehab, and asking you to watch me flex so you can tell me how great I look. A few days removed from my first match back, my arm is great, my strength is completely back, and I couldn't be happier. Everything else on my body, including my foot, not so much." Asked about dream matches Bret Hart would name the master of the 619, saying to the Johnny I Pro Show, "Rey Mysterio is maybe one of the greatest. I wish I could have had one match with Rey Mysterio just to be in the ring with him. He's one of my favorites and is always a class act. Very few wrestlers have the respect that I have for Rey Mysterio." Staying on the topic of Bret Hart, The Undertaker said this about a match he had with the Hitman in the UK, telling Manchester Evening News, "I remember having a match against Bret Hart, and Bret in the States was a heel at the time, but everywhere else, he was still a face. We had a match in the UK, it must have been 45 minutes, and through the course of the match, one moment they're going, 'Let's go Bret,' and 2 minutes later, it's 'Let's go Taker.' It was so cool to have that kind of energy. It was just off the charts. Probably one of my favorite matches of all time. It was really good. Bret pushed me to be more than a character. He pushed me into figuring out how to be the character and be a wrestler too. That's something I'm really grateful to him for, pushing me in that direction, because I don't think I would have lasted as long as I did if I didn't evolve." With her and Shayna Baszler becoming the WWE Women's Tag Champs on Raw, Ronda Rousey said this about the division to the New York Post. "Well, the lack of competition is really the problem. I mean, we want to be the most active champions out there. I want to be able to defend this title every week, and even twice a week on both SmackDown and Raw. But with how dismally shallow the women's division is right now, there's not enough women around here to keep us busy for a month. And so that's the biggest challenge that we have, is to get this company to actually care and invest into this tag division." When asked about AEW Collision, Samoa Joe told Evan Mack on the Kick Rocks Wrestling podcast, "Obviously, it's exciting to add another show to the lineup for AEW. Doing Saturday Night Wrestling? I mean, obviously, if the TV model was anything like it has been in the past, I would kind of believe some of those comments, but it's a very different world and a very different environment. I think Saturday nights are a really great night. I've always enjoyed events that I've seen on Saturday nights. To have the opportunity to kind of give a lot of the AEW roster that maybe doesn't get enough time throughout the week and showcase a lot of the talent that we've had, and I think that's a valid criticism. When you look at the AEW roster, you see the tremendous talented athletes. There's almost not enough time to see them all. I think AEW Collision will be able to definitely expand the fan experience as far as the wrestlers that you get to see." Saying this about the star power of the American Nightmare, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reported that Cody Rhodes has consistently been a top merch seller for WWE. We're told that he usually tops in individual weekly merch sales at events, with a big exception of Raw in Boston where Cena outsold him. Touching on rumors of earning a lifetime contract in AEW, commentator for the company Tony Schiavone said on his podcast, "That's a lie unless my life ends by April next year. There is no guarantee that they're going to re-sign me. That's how I approach life. No guarantees." Klondike Bill told me one time, "The job is a day-to-day thing, Tony. That's how I approach my life." For an interview with PWMania.com, Matt Cardona was asked about making a return to AEW, where he said, "I mean, come on, that was so fake. Listen, I'm flattered. I think I would be great on that show. I think AEW, what they've been doing is fantastic. I mean, adding another show, primetime, incredible. It shows their growth. They're on their way to maybe sell out Wembley Stadium, which is incredible. AEW is doing some great things, but no, that is not a true lineup. Unless Tony Khan calls me tomorrow. I mean, I'm a free agent for a reason, baby. I'm always ready." Mentioning a return to WWE, Logan Paul revealed on his podcast, "I am so hungry to get back in there, dude. I am so hungry to get back in there. And I just got cable here in Puerto Rico. I've been watching Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown and the big events. Night of Champions just happened. As a fan, for the first time, I'm watching the consumer angle. I didn't always do that. As a YouTuber, I got to go and be a YouTuber because I knew what people were looking for, what they wanted, and what made a good video and kept the audience retained. Now, as a WWE fan, I can see how the performance translates from what it feels like from my perspective to it on TV. I think this angle and these last 3 months I've had off in the sport will lead to an amazing next couple of years in WWE. I appreciate you saying that. I'm really excited to get back." Explaining why he did not end up signing with WWE, former NWA World Heavyweight Champion Nick Aldis told Metro.co.uk, "As far as WWE, timing is everything. I don't want to speak to it too much, but timing was a big factor. I think everyone knows that there is a lot going on there. Who knows?" He also stated, "I don't want to speak too much about my conversations with WWE, and I certainly don't want to imply or suggest that I had a choice of anywhere to go. That would be disingenuous or dishonest. It's more about what's the best option right now. I did need a little bit of a mental break because it did put a lot of pressure on myself." For more information on Mercedes Moné's recent injury, it was said that Fightful Select confirmed last week that Mercedes was slated to defeat Willow Nightingale at Resurgence to become champion. Since then, we've learned that Mercedes herself called for the end of the match and the change in the finish when she realized something went wrong physically, at that time only known to be a leg/foot injury. We've been told since then that the NJPW Strong Women's Championship was created with her in mind. New Japan Pro Wrestling is under the impression that the injury that Mercedes sustained was a severe sprain without a break. However, those close to Mercedes have said that there's definitely a sprain and the fear of a break. There was too much swelling to know for sure, and they're hoping to have a clearer picture of where things stand after the swelling has gone down. Right now, we haven't heard of her plan for any imminent matches due to the injury. During an interview on Insight with Chris Van Vliet, New Japan star Will Ospreay was asked about a potential match against CM Punk, where he noted, "I have no idea what's going on, but I'm all about business and hopefully that something can work out." Now, it is quite open, especially with the relationship there that AEW have with New Japan. It's so different to how it was in 2020. As Bray Wyatt has been out of action for some time due to a reported physical issue, we now have an update on his return to WWE. A fan asked WWE insider BWE, hey Boozer, now that Alexa is pregnant, which is awesome, does this change plans for Bray's return? Or have you heard different, because I know you said there might be a tease? In a response, it was said that Bray's work is on paper, Alexa, all changes for her. With AEW Collision set to debut next month, it seems that a former world champion won't be making an appearance for it, as it was said that independent promotion Wrestling Revolver announced that Jon Moxley, who was tired of all the drama surrounding CM Punk, will be part of their event in Dayton, Ohio on the same day as Collision's debut. Takeshita is also booked for the show, so both he and Moxley will be missing out on Collision's debut. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.